Your thoughts shape your reality. What you believe about yourself and the world and you directly impacts the actions you take, the risks you embrace, and the results you achieve. The human mind is incredibly powerful, capable of creating success or ensuring failure, depending on how it is conditioned. Many people underestimate the influence of their own mindset, believing that external circumstances determine their fate. In reality, it is the way a person perceives and responds to challenges that dictates their future. Every individual carries a set of beliefs that have been shaped by experiences, upbringing, and society. Some of these beliefs empower while others limit. A person who believes they are capable, worthy, and resilient will approach life with confidence and determination. Conversely, someone who constantly doubts their abilities will hesitate, procrastinate, and settle for less than they deserve. Recognizing the impact of these internal narratives is the first step toward transformation. Self-awareness plays a crucial role in this process. People often operate on autopilot, accepting their thoughts as truth without questioning them. But thoughts are not facts, they are simply patterns the brain has developed over time. By becoming aware of negative or limiting beliefs, one can begin to challenge and reframe them. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," a person can shift their thinking to, "I am constantly improving and growing." This simple adjustment creates a new mental pathway, one that supports progress rather than hinders it. Visualization is a powerful tool in reshaping the mind. Athletes, entrepreneurs, and high achievers use this technique to see themselves succeeding before it happens in reality. When the brain repeatedly experiences a desired outcome through mental imagery, it begins to accept it as possible. This builds confidence and reduces fear, making it easier to take action. Whether it is preparing for a big presentation, starting a new business, or taking a bold leap in life, visualizing success conditions the mind for achievement. Another essential factor in mastering the mind is controlling focus. The mind tends to magnify whatever it consistently dwells on. If a person focuses on problems, difficulties, and fears, those things will expand in their perception, creating stress and doubt. However, shifting focus to solutions, opportunities, and strengths rewires the brain for resilience. It is not about ignoring difficulties, but rather training the mind to see possibilities instead of roadblocks. This simple shift can drastically change how one approaches challenges. Emotions and thoughts are deeply connected. Negative emotions often stem from repeated negative thoughts. By consciously choosing better thoughts, emotions follow. Gratitude, for example, is a powerful practice that rewires the brain for positivity. When a person intentionally focuses on what they are grateful for, their brain releases chemicals that enhance well-being and motivation. Gratitude reduces stress, increases optimism, and fosters resilience in the face of obstacles. Another key element in transforming the mind is language. The words people use, both in their heads and out loud, shape their experiences. Saying "I can't" reinforces limitation, while saying "I will figure it out" opens the door to possibility. Language programs the subconscious mind, which then influences behavior. By being mindful of the words used, one can recondition their brain for success. Consistency is crucial in mastering the mind. Rewiring thought patterns does not happen overnight. It requires daily practice, patience, and commitment. Reading positive material, listening to uplifting content, and surrounding oneself with growth-minded people accelerates this transformation. The environment a person immerses themselves in has a direct impact on their mindset. Being intentional about input, whether it be books, conversations, or experiences, shapes mental resilience and belief systems. Overcoming self-doubt is a major challenge in this journey. The mind often clings to old patterns, trying to keep a person in a familiar but limiting comfort zone. Recognizing that fear and doubt are normal responses to change allows a person to push forward despite them. Confidence is not something a person is born with, it is built through repeated action. Each time a person faces a fear and moves forward anyway, they strengthen their belief in their own abilities. One of the most powerful ways to shift mindset is by setting and achieving small wins. The brain thrives on progress. When a person accomplishes even a small goal, it reinforces their belief in their ability to succeed. This creates momentum, making bigger challenges feel more attainable. Celebrating these small victories builds motivation and encourages continued growth. It is also important to let go of past failures and mistakes. Many people allow their past to define them, replaying old failures and reinforcing self-doubt. But the past does not equal the future. Every new day is an opportunity to create a new reality. Learning from mistakes instead of dwelling on them transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Resilience comes from understanding that failure is not the end but a necessary part of growth. The mind is the foundation of all success. People often look for external solutions to internal problems, hoping that circumstances will change before they take action. But real change happens from the inside out. Mastering the mind requires intentional effort, but the rewards are immense. Confidence, resilience, and success begin with the thoughts a person chooses to nurture. Fear is a natural part of life. It exists to protect us from danger, yet too often it becomes a barrier that holds people back from achieving their true potential. Fear manifests in many ways: fear of failure, rejection, fear of change, or even fear of success. It keeps individuals stuck in their comfort zones, preventing them from taking risks that could lead to growth. Many people allow fear to dictate their decisions, settling for less than they are capable of because they are afraid of the unknown. However, fear can be transformed into a powerful driving force rather than a limitation. The first step in using fear as fuel is understanding its purpose. Fear is not the enemy, it is a signal. It indicates areas of life where growth is possible. When fear arises, it means there is an opportunity to expand beyond current limitations. Instead of avoiding it, recognizing fear as a guide can shift the perspective from one of hesitation to one of empowerment. The most successful people in the world have felt fear, but they did not let it stop them. They used it as motivation to push forward, knowing that on the other side of fear lies growth. One of the biggest fears people experience is the fear of failure. Society often conditions individuals to believe that failure is something to be ashamed of, but in reality, failure is one of the most valuable teachers. Every failure provides a lesson, a chance to refine skills, and an opportunity to come back stronger. Many of the greatest innovators, from Thomas Edison to Steve Jobs, encountered repeated failures before achieving their breakthroughs. What set them apart was their willingness to keep going despite setbacks. Viewing failure as feedback rather than a final outcome can turn fear into determination. Reframing fear as excitement is another way to harness its power. The physical symptoms of fear, racing heart, sweaty palms, and heightened awareness, are nearly identical to those of excitement. Instead of interpreting these sensations as signs of danger, they can be seen as the body preparing for a challenge. Athletes, performers, and public speakers use this technique to shift their mindset before stepping into high-pressure situations. By changing the internal dialogue from "I'm scared" to "I'm ready," fear transforms into energy that drives performance. Taking action despite fear is the key to overcoming it. Many people wait for fear to disappear before pursuing their goals, but that moment never comes. Fear does not vanish, it is conquered through movement. The more someone steps into discomfort, the less power fear has over them. Small, consistent actions build confidence over time. The first step is always the hardest, but once it is taken, momentum builds. Facing fears head-on proves that they are often exaggerated in the mind, and the more they are challenged, the weaker they become. Another crucial factor in turning fear into fuel is surrounding oneself with the right influences. Being around people who embrace challenges and push past fear creates an environment of courage. Fear thrives in isolation, but in a community of action takers, it loses its grip. Seeking mentors, role models, and supportive networks helps reinforce the belief that overcoming fear is possible. Stories of others who have faced their fears and succeeded serve as inspiration and motivation to do the same. Self-talk plays a significant role in fear management. The words spoken internally shape emotions and actions. When fear arises, the mind often amplifies worst-case scenarios, creating unnecessary panic. Becoming aware of these thoughts and replacing them with empowering statements can make a dramatic difference. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," shifting to "I am capable and I will figure it out," alters the way the brain processes fear. Positive affirmations and mental conditioning help build resilience against fear's influence. Building a habit of taking risks strengthens the ability to handle fear. Life rewards those who dare to step outside their comfort zones. Whether it is speaking up in a meeting, starting a new project, or making a major life change, every risk taken expands confidence and capability. The more someone faces fear, the more they realize it is an illusion. Growth does not happen in safety, it happens in the moments of uncertainty and challenge. One of the most powerful realizations about fear is that it is temporary, but regret lasts much longer. Many people look back on their lives and wish they had taken more chances. They regret the opportunities they let pass by because they were too afraid to act. In the grand scheme of life, the discomfort of facing fear is minor compared to the lifelong pain of wondering what if. Choosing to act despite fear ensures that opportunities are seized rather than lost. Fear will always exist, but it does not have to control decisions. It can be used as a tool for growth, motivation, and resilience. Instead of letting fear dictate actions, embracing it as a natural part of progress allows for incredible transformation. Every time fear is faced, confidence grows and new possibilities open up. Fear is not a stop sign. It is a signal that something great is on the horizon. The question is not whether fear will arise, but whether it will be used as fuel to propel forward. Success does not come from wishful thinking or perfect planning, it comes from action. Too many people wait for the right time, the perfect circumstances, or enough knowledge before they begin. They hesitate, overanalyze, and delay, believing that they need everything to be aligned before taking the first step. The truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. The only way to make progress is by taking massive action despite uncertainty, fear, or imperfection. Waiting leads to stagnation, while action leads to results. Those who achieve great things in life do so not because they have all the answers, but because they take consistent steps forward, learning and adjusting along the way. Overthinking is one of the greatest enemies of progress. The mind creates endless scenarios of what could go wrong, building fear and doubt that paralyze action. When energy is spent constantly analyzing instead of doing, nothing changes. The most successful people recognize that action creates clarity. Instead of waiting to be fully confident before starting, they take a leap, knowing that confidence comes from experience. The more action is taken, the more knowledge and skills develop, and the less fear and hesitation control the outcome. One of the biggest misconceptions about success is that motivation is required before taking action. Many believe they need to feel inspired, energized, or in the right mindset before they begin. But motivation is unreliable. It fluctuates based on mood, circumstances, and external influences. The key to progress is discipline, not motivation. Action itself creates motivation. The moment someone starts working on a goal, momentum builds and motivation follows. When people rely on action instead of waiting to feel ready, they take control of their results. Small steps lead to massive results over time. Many people underestimate the power of daily effort. They assume that if they cannot make a drastic change immediately, their actions do not matter. But every major achievement is built on small, consistent actions. Writing 1 page a day leads to a book. Exercising for 15 minutes daily leads to a healthier body. Making 1 extra sales call every day leads to financial growth. These small steps compound, creating momentum that leads to breakthroughs. The key is consistency, committing to action every single day, even when it feels insignificant. Taking action despite fear is the ultimate differentiator between those who succeed and those who remain stuck. Fear will always be present: fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. The difference between successful individuals and those who struggle is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. Every time fear is faced, it loses its power. Action builds confidence, proving that most fears are illusions created by the mind. The more someone steps into discomfort, the easier it becomes to handle uncertainty and challenge. Mistakes and failures are inevitable, but they are not setbacks, they are stepping stones. Many people fear failure so much that they never start. They believe that making mistakes is a sign of weakness or incompetence. But the most successful individuals embrace failure as part of the journey. Every mistake provides a lesson. Every setback reveals a weakness that can be strengthened. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is a prerequisite for it. The key is to learn, adapt, and keep moving forward rather than allowing failures to create self-doubt and hesitation. One of the most powerful habits that lead to action is setting clear, specific goals. Vague intentions produce vague results. Saying, "I want to be successful," is not enough. Defining what success looks like, breaking it down into actionable steps, and setting deadlines ensures progress. Goals should be measurable and structured in a way that creates accountability. When there is a clear target, the mind focuses on solutions rather than distractions. Having a strong reason behind a goal, knowing why it matters, provides the fuel to push through obstacles and challenges. Surrounding oneself with action takers creates an environment of growth. The people around influence behavior more than most realize. Spending time with those who hesitate, complain, and make excuses reinforces those habits. Being around individuals who take bold action, push past fears, and stay committed to their goals creates a mindset of execution. Success is contagious, and the energy of those who take action inspires and reinforces the same behavior. Seeking out mentors, communities, and friendships that support progress can accelerate success in ways that would be difficult alone. Perfectionism is another major obstacle that prevents action. Many people wait until they feel fully prepared, believing that they must be perfect before starting. But perfection is an illusion. No one has ever achieved greatness by being perfect from the beginning. Success comes from starting messy, making adjustments, and improving along the way. The fear of making mistakes or looking foolish keeps too many people from ever reaching their potential. Those who understand that progress is more important than perfection take action despite uncertainty. The fastest way to accelerate success is to take immediate and massive action. Those who act quickly and consistently achieve more than those who spend years planning and hesitating. When an idea emerges, the best approach is to take one step toward it immediately. Whether it is making a phone call, writing down a plan, or testing a concept, action cements commitment. The longer action is delayed, the harder it becomes to start. Energy and enthusiasm fade with time, so using momentum to create movement is crucial. Taking action is the foundation of all success. Without it, dreams remain ideas and potential remains untapped. There will always be obstacles, fears, and reasons to wait. But those who rise above these excuses are the ones who achieve their goals. It is not intelligence, talent, or luck that determines success. It is the willingness to act. The more action is taken, the more life transforms and the closer one gets to achieving greatness. People often underestimate the power of their beliefs and how much they shape their reality. Many go through life carrying beliefs that were instilled in them at a young age without ever questioning whether those beliefs are actually serving them. Limiting beliefs are the invisible barriers that hold people back from reaching their full potential. These are the thoughts that say, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve success, or I will never be able to do that. They are deeply ingrained in the subconscious and often dictate the choices a person makes, the risks they take, and ultimately the results they achieve. Breaking through these mental barriers is the key to unlocking true potential. Recognizing limiting beliefs is the first step to overcoming them. Many people operate on autopilot, never realizing that their own thoughts are keeping them trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and hesitation. These beliefs are often absorbed from family, teachers, society, or past experiences. A person who was told they were not smart enough as a child may carry that belief in adulthood, avoiding opportunities for growth and success because they subconsciously believe they are destined to fail. Identifying these thoughts and questioning their validity is crucial in breaking free from their grip. Replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones requires conscious effort. The mind is like a muscle, it needs to be trained. If someone has spent years believing they are not capable, that belief will not disappear overnight. It takes deliberate practice to rewire the brain. One effective way to do this is through affirmations and positive self-talk. Instead of saying, I always fail, shifting to, I am constantly learning and improving changes the internal dialogue. Over time, this shift in language alters the way the brain perceives challenges and opportunities. Taking action despite limiting beliefs is the fastest way to break them. Fear and self-doubt lose their power when faced head-on. When someone believes they are not good at public speaking but forces themselves to speak in front of others, they prove their mind wrong. The more they challenge their fears, the weaker those fears become. Confidence is not something people are born with, it is built through repeated action. Every time a person steps outside their comfort zone, they chip away at the false narratives that have held them back. Surrounding oneself with people who have a growth mindset is essential. The environment a person is in either reinforces limiting beliefs or helps destroy them. Being around individuals who challenge themselves, push past obstacles, and refuse to settle creates a mindset of possibility. Seeing others succeed despite hardships proves that limitations are often self-imposed. A strong support system can provide encouragement, accountability, and new perspectives that help in the process of transformation. The words people use shape their beliefs more than they realize. Language programs the subconscious mind. Saying, I can't, repeatedly conditions the brain to accept it as truth. Changing the way one speaks about themselves and their abilities rewires thought patterns. Shifting from I'm not good at this to I am learning and improving builds a mindset of growth rather than limitation. The more these empowering words are spoken, the more they become ingrained in the mind, replacing old patterns of doubt and fear. Failure should not be feared, it should be embraced as part of growth. Many people avoid challenges because they are afraid of failing, but failure is not a reflection of worth, it is a necessary step toward mastery. Every successful person has failed multiple times. The difference is that they did not let failure define them. Instead, they used it as feedback. Understanding that setbacks are simply lessons in disguise shifts the way people approach challenges. When failure is no longer seen as a reason to stop, but rather as a stepping stone, growth becomes inevitable. Letting go of past experiences that have reinforced limiting beliefs is crucial. Many people hold on to negative memories of rejection, embarrassment, or mistakes, allowing them to shape their self-perception. Carrying the weight of the past into present progress, releasing these experiences and focusing on who they are becoming rather than who they used to be opens the door for transformation. The past does not define the future unless it is allowed to. Visualization is a powerful tool in reprogramming the mind. When people imagine themselves succeeding, overcoming obstacles, and achieving their goals, they create a mental blueprint for success. The brain does not distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences, so rehearsing success in the mind builds confidence and reduces fear. Many elite athletes, performers, and entrepreneurs use visualization techniques to prepare for challenges. Seeing success before it happens makes it feel more attainable and removes the psychological barriers that hold people back. Taking responsibility for one's beliefs and actions is a game changer. Blaming external circumstances, upbringing, or past failures keeps people stuck. The moment someone takes full ownership of their mindset and choices, they reclaim control over their life. No one else is responsible for changing limiting beliefs except the individual who holds them. Recognizing this truth is empowering because it means transformation is entirely possible. The only thing standing in the way of progress is the willingness to challenge old patterns and adopt new ones. Growth is an ongoing process, not a one-time event. Breaking through limiting beliefs is not about reaching a point where fear and doubt no longer exist. It is about learning to navigate them differently. Every new level of success will bring new challenges and old fears in different forms. The key is to continue applying the strategies that work, questioning negative thoughts, taking action despite fear, surrounding oneself with the right influences, and maintaining a mindset of continuous improvement. Over time, what once seemed impossible becomes second nature, and the cycle of limitation is replaced with the cycle of empowerment and achievement. Every person has an internal thermostat that controls their level of success, happiness, and fulfillment. This thermostat is shaped by past experiences, upbringing, beliefs, and the standards they set for themselves. Some people unknowingly set their thermostat too low, accepting mediocrity because they believe that is all they are capable of. Others set it high, refusing to settle for anything less than excellence. The key to creating lasting transformation is raising personal standards and refusing to live below them. When a person elevates their expectations for themselves, everything in their life begins to shift to match those new standards. People often struggle not because they lack ability, but because they tolerate too much from themselves and others. They accept unhealthy habits, negative relationships, and low performance, not because they want to, but because they have not decided to raise their standards. The moment they make a firm decision about what they will no longer tolerate, their actions begin to align with that decision. A person who decides they will no longer settle for poor health will begin making choices that support a healthier lifestyle. A person who refuses to accept toxic relationships will start setting boundaries. It all begins with a decision. A compelling vision drives higher standards. Without a clear and powerful vision, people drift through life, reacting to circumstances instead of creating them. Those who achieve greatness are driven by a vision so strong that it pulls them forward even when challenges arise. This vision becomes their standard. It dictates the way they think, act, and approach every aspect of life. When a vision is clear, decisions become easier because anything that does not align with that vision is automatically eliminated. Identity plays a crucial role in setting personal standards. People act consistently with who they believe they are. Someone who sees themselves as a leader naturally makes decisions that align with leadership. Someone who believes they are disciplined follows through on their commitments. The challenge is that many people have unknowingly adopted disempowering identities such as I'm not a morning person, I'm bad with money, or I always procrastinate. These identities become self-fulfilling prophecies. Shifting identity by affirming a new, empowering self-image rewires the brain with align with that identity. Massive change happens when a person links pain to their current standards and pleasure to higher ones. Humans are motivated by two forces, the desire to avoid pain and the desire to gain pleasure. If someone connects deep pain to their current state, seeing it as unbearable, unacceptable, and something they will no longer tolerate, they will take immediate action to change it. If they associate pleasure with the new standard, envisioning the benefits, rewards, and fulfillment that come with it, their motivation will become unstoppable. The stronger these associations, the faster the transformation. Accountability reinforces higher standards. It is easy to let personal commitments slip when no one is watching. But when there is accountability, whether through mentors, coaches, or peers, there is an added layer of commitment. High achievers surround themselves with people who hold them to their highest potential. They do not seek comfort in excuses. They seek challenge and push themselves beyond their perceived limits. They know that their environment influences their standards, so they consciously create an environment that supports excellence. Routines and habits shape personal standards more than willpower alone. People do not rise to their goals. They fall to the level of their habits. Someone who sets a high standard for health does not rely on motivation to exercise. They build a routine that makes it automatic. Someone who sets a high standard for personal growth does not wait until they feel like learning. They schedule time for reading, listening to podcasts, and developing new skills. The small, consistent actions a person takes every day define their long-term results. Fear of failure often keeps people from raising their standards. They worry that if they aim too high and fall short, they will feel disappointed. But the real failure is never trying. People who achieve extraordinary results do not succeed because they never fail. They succeed because they never settle. They view setbacks as feedback and keep adjusting their approach until they reach their goals. They understand that failure is temporary, but the pain of not living up to their potential lasts a lifetime. Raising standards is not about making a one-time decision. It is about making that decision every day. It is easy to feel inspired for a moment and commit to a higher level of living, but the true test comes in daily actions. The commitment must be renewed each morning, reinforced by choices throughout the day, and cemented by reflection at night. The strongest standards become non-negotiable. They are not dependent on circumstances, moods, or external validation. They are a way of life. Momentum builds as new standards become habits. At first, raising standards requires effort, discipline, and discomfort. But over time, as the mind and body adjust, the new level of living becomes natural. What once seemed difficult becomes effortless. What once required willpower becomes automatic. This is why the most successful individuals continue to set bigger goals. They know that every time they push beyond their current limits, they create a new baseline for what is possible. Everything in life changes the moment a person decides to raise their standards. The way they think, the way they act, and the results they achieve are all determined by the level they are willing to accept. When they demand more from themselves, they find ways to rise to that demand. When they expect greatness, they find ways to create it. When they refuse to settle, they discover that they are capable of more than they ever imagined. The process is not easy, but it is always worth it. The quality of life is directly related to the quality of emotions experienced on a daily basis. Many people believe that external circumstances determine happiness, fulfillment, or success, but in reality, it is the way emotions are managed and controlled that shapes life. The ability to master emotions is one of the most powerful skills a person can develop because emotions dictate decisions, actions, and interactions with others. When emotions are left unchecked, they can create unnecessary suffering, self-doubt, and destructive habits. When they are mastered, they become a source of strength, clarity, and motivation. Emotions do not happen randomly. They are created by patterns of thought, focus, and physiology. The mind generates emotions based on what it chooses to focus on. If attention is constantly placed on problems, failures, or fears, the emotional state will reflect those thoughts. Shifting focus to solutions, gratitude, and progress instantly changes emotions. The way the body moves also plays a crucial role in emotional state. Someone who is slouched, breathing shallowly, and moving sluggishly will feel very different from someone who stands tall, breathes deeply, and moves with energy. Physiology influences emotions as much as thoughts do, and small changes in movement, posture, and breathing create a massive shift in how one feels. Many people allow emotions to control them instead of taking control of their emotions. They react impulsively to situations, letting frustration, stress, or fear dictate their actions. This reactive approach leads to poor decisions, unnecessary conflict, and lost opportunities. Instead of reacting, emotional mastery requires responding with intention. When faced with a challenging situation, taking a moment to breathe, reframe the perspective, and choose a productive response shifts the outcome entirely. The difference between reacting and responding is the difference between chaos and control. One of the most powerful ways to take control of emotions is to change the meaning attached to experiences. Events themselves do not create emotions, interpretations do. Two people can experience the same event and feel completely different emotions based on the meaning they give to it. A setback can be seen as a failure or as a lesson. A challenge can be seen as a burden or as an opportunity to grow. Reframing situations in a way that empowers rather than discourages changes emotional patterns and strengthens resilience. Language plays a significant role in shaping emotions. The words used internally and externally have a direct impact on how emotions are experienced. Saying, "I'm devastated," creates a much more intense emotional state than saying, "I'm a little frustrated." Describing emotions in an exaggerated or negative way amplifies their power, while using empowering language softens their impact. Consciously choosing words that create resourceful states rather than disempower ones is a simple but effective way to shift emotions instantly. Breaking negative emotional patterns requires recognizing and interrupting them. Many people experience the same negative emotions repeatedly because they follow an unconscious pattern. Something triggers them. They respond in a habitual way, and they reinforce the pattern through their thoughts and behaviors. The key to emotional mastery is identifying these patterns and breaking them before they gain momentum. This can be done through movement, changing focus, using humor, or even asking different questions. Instead of asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" asking, "What can I learn from this?" immediately shifts the emotional response. Emotional mastery does not mean suppressing emotions. It means using them in a way that serves rather than controls. Every emotion has a message and a purpose. Fear can signal the need to prepare. Anger can highlight something that needs to change. Sadness can be a call for reflection and healing. Ignoring emotions or pretending they do not exist only makes them stronger. Acknowledging them, understanding their message, and deciding how to respond gives power over them. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to shift emotional states. It is impossible to feel fear, anger, or stress while truly experiencing gratitude. Focusing on what is already good, what is working, and what is a blessing in life immediately changes perspective and emotions. Many people wait for external achievements to feel grateful, but gratitude is a practice, not a result. Those who make it a habit to find reasons to be grateful every day experience higher levels of happiness, fulfillment, and resilience regardless of circumstances. Surrounding oneself with positive influences reinforces emotional mastery. Just as negative people can drain energy and bring out stress, being around positive, growth-minded individuals elevates emotional states. Emotions are contagious, and the energy of the people around has a direct impact on personal emotions. Choosing relationships that uplift, challenge, and inspire creates an environment where emotional mastery becomes natural rather than forced. Developing rituals that promote emotional strength builds consistency in emotional control. Meditation, exercise, visualization, journaling, and affirmations are all tools that can be used daily to train the mind and body to operate from a place of empowerment rather than reaction. Just as physical fitness requires consistent training, emotional fitness is built through daily habits that strengthen emotional intelligence and resilience. Mastering emotions leads to mastery over life. Those who control their emotions control their decisions. Those who control their decisions shape their destiny. When emotions are used as fuel rather than obstacles, challenges become opportunities, setbacks become lessons, and life transforms from something to endure into something to create.